radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening. Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah. How you doing? Today's Tuesday, September 4th, 2018. 249 days into the new year, just 116 days left. And as always, we are live from a bunker somewhere in the middle of beautiful downtown Burbank, California. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black. For KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the Planet, I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? All right, it's day 2 of our UFO week right here on Fade to Black. And tonight, our guest, Stanton Friedman. That's it. Right there, Stanton Friedman. Looking forward to this. You know, he lives in, I didn't even know it existed, to be honest with you, the Atlantic time zone. It's east of New York by 2 time zones, right? It's, you know, it's way out. He'll be here in a few short minutes. Stanton Friedman is our guest. And like all of us, Stanton Friedman has been with us for so long that most of us in ufology today are here because of Stanton Friedman. He's been just out there doing it for so long and so elegantly. And tonight he is our guest. Tomorrow night, day 3 of our UFO week here on Fade to Black, is the return of Barry Littleton. And that will be tomorrow night. And I'm going to make a couple of comments about that in just a bit. Thursday is another Fader night with open lines all night long. And this will be UFO phone calls all night. Okay? UFO. So your encounters, your sightings, your pictures, your close encounter, everything, that will be Thursday night, okay? Now, you can go chase us down over at onstellar.com. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Everything is Jimmy Church or Fade to Black, and everything that you need is over at jimmychurchradio.com. It's really that simple. At JChurchRadio is what you want to do right now. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox. Hey, Rita, who did we give the, who won the Studio Dome speaker, the boombox? Who won it? I got a couple emails about that today, and I know somebody did. I just didn't have an answer for it. So we'll get that up there, and there you go. Okay. Somebody won. Yeah, that's up to Rita. That's not up to me. at J Church Radio, the Sandbox, because that's where we gave away the Studio Dome Boombox portable Bluetooth speaker. And very nice, too, by the way. And, okay, I think Rita, is she, when you're not hungry, I have no, that's to Patrick. I thought that was to me. Okay, where are we? Sandbox F2B on Twitter, hashtag F2B. Any questions or comments? Hashtag F2BQ on Twitter. All right. You can email throughout the show, Jimmy at jimmychurchradio.com. Breaking news. We announced this last night. I'm going to continue this week with this. Our newest sponsor, we welcomed last night here at Fade to Black, and it is Fast Start Diet. And I know that you've noticed the new Svelte Me. I mean, seriously. Yeah, look at that. I mean, look, 3-day fast. I did a 3-day fast. It's called the Fast Start Diet. So I did the 3-day fast, and I feel great. It was wonderful. Day 1 was a little shaky. Day 2, woke up perfect. Day 3, done, completed. Feel great, tastes great. It's all good. And so when you order it, you get 3 individual packages with your food for the day and what to eat. Granted, it is lots of fruit, nuts, fiber, gluten-free, vegan stuff. But wow, what a difference. And I'll say this, it kind of changes your mindset once you get, when you complete 3 days of it. I haven't had an In-N-Out double-double now in a week. Tonight is Taco Tuesday. Taco trucks all the way home between the bunker and our house. Taco trucks. We're not stopping. Nope. It's weird. It's weird. Yeah, I feel great. Fast Start Diet. And you can find Fast Start Diet at Amazon, or you can go to faststartdiet.com. Use the promo code TALK, T-A-L-K, and you will get 10% off of your first box. And as a special bonus, Fast Start will include their #1 rated Lipo3 appetite suppressant spray free with your order. Just drops in the box. That's right. Fast Start Diet. Unbelievable. Get healthy. I feel great. Great. All right. And we also have banners up over at jimmychurchradio.com. Other breaking news today. After that catastrophic fire that torched the National Museum of Brazil this past Sunday, destroying many of the institution's 20 million artifacts, the museum's Bendigo meteorite displayed in the lobby, in the entrance, which is completely turned into ashes, was left intact. The meteorite is the largest meteorite ever found on Brazilian soil. It was discovered by a cattle farmer near the town of Monte Santo in the Brazilian state of Bahia back in 1784. The Bendigo meteorite weighs about 11,600 pounds. It's more than twice the weight of an average car, but it's all packed into a space rock the size of a small motorcycle. It's amazing. You should see the pictures. I've got, I'll bust one out here on Twitter. This survived the fire. I'm just going to do that. And it's really that simple. I'm just going to do. And check this out. It's unbelievable. Look at this. And when you see the picture, look at the background. Look at this. Look at that. And there it is, right in the lobby, in the entrance. Isn't that incredible? It survived. And you got to remember, it ain't burning up. It survived space and Earth's atmosphere, right? When they discovered this back in 1784, the villagers put it on a wooden cart and tried to pull it through the jungle. and they were on a path. The wheels got caught up in some mud. The cart tipped over. The meteorite rolled down a hill, 11,600 pounds. Imagine how heavy that was. And you see the pictures of it, too, on the cart. Anyway, rolled down the hill, fell into a river, a creek, where it sat for another 100 years. The villagers were like, nah, we're not moving it again. And there you go. But they finally got it to the museum 100 years ago, and there it sits, and it survived the fire. Also, today, following Apple, Amazon is now the second company in the history of the world to be worth over $1 trillion. Seriously. At the beginning of this year, the company, Amazon, was worth just $580 billion. In the second quarter, the company's net income ballooned to $2.5 billion compared to $197 million in the second quarter of 2017. I don't know what's going on with Amazon. They seem to be doing everything right now. Of course, they deliver packages to your door. They've got that. They've got the infrastructure for that and the shipping, and they've got all of that down. But they also own most of the internet, just so you know. They really do. And cloud computing, servers, storage systems. I believe... I could be wrong. I was just going to say, I think like the NSA, the CIA, the IRS all use Amazon. I could be wrong. Probably not, though. One share of Amazon stock traded today for, are you ready for this? $2,039 per share. $2,000. Apple stock, and they were the first one to $1 trillion, but Apple stock is trading for a couple of $100, like $250, $240, something like that. Amazon stock, $2,039 a share. Absolutely insane. Two companies, both in the United States, on this planet are worth $1 trillion. That's insane to me. It's insane. Not a $1 billion company. That's a big deal. That's 1,000 million. That's big. $1 trillion, 1,000 billion. That is just ginormous money. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. You can do that for just $2 a month. Click on the podcast banner at jimmychurchradio.com. You can also become a Fadernaut over in our membership section of the site. It's all right there. And visit all of our sponsors by clicking on their banners over at jimmychurchradio.com. Let's get this show cracking. Happy birthday to today, Damon Wayans. Damon Wayans today is 58 years old. And I'm just going to say it right now, okay? Major Pain still makes me laugh every time I see it. Love that movie. On this day in history, OTD. Speaking of Apple, speaking of Amazon, on this day in history in 1998, 20 years ago today, just 20 years ago today, Google was incorporated. Fader fact. Let's go. Fader fact. If you wanted to walk from Finland to North Korea, okay? Finland to North Korea, down here by Japan and the Philippines. Finland, up here by Santa Claus. If you wanted to walk from Finland and the North Pole to North Korea, down here by Japan and South Korea, right? You would only have to walk across one country, Russia. Seriously, that's a Fader fact. It's a Fader fact. Aren't you glad you are here? You get something like that, right? And you can go and drop that gem at a party, and you'll take every bet. Just go ahead and do it. Isn't that an amazing fact? All right, tonight, day 2 of our UFO week here on Fade to Black, and our guest is Stanton Friedman. Tomorrow night is the return of Barry Littleton. Thursday is another Fader night, open lines all night long. John Rappaport is out on, what's the word when you are working on the road? He's on assignment. Our producer at large, editor at large, is on the road. We'll hear back and get more next Thursday. But this Thursday, it's going to be your UFO phone calls all night long. All right. The fire extinguisher in the background is quite ironic, don't you think? I didn't see that, but yeah, no sprinkler systems, I think, is even more ironic in a museum, a national museum, the museum. All right. Now, let me hit this River Moon coffee. Keep the tradition going. Because I have often stated many times on this show, that Homo sapien sapien, us, have only been around for about 200,000 years. That's right. 250 if we stretch it, a little bit, and a little give, a little take, stretch it. But that's it. That's it. This is a fact that is supported by all of our professional academic friends, and there's no reason to go further here and now, and I'm not going to. But, and there's always a but, the last 5,000 of those years have seen a dramatic rise in technology, and just 150 years ago, our peak was the steam engine. Think about that for a second. 50 years after that, it was the light bulb, telephone, the airplane, Wright brothers. Okay. Go with that. 100 years later, and we are about to completely destroy our planet with pollution and global warming. That's right. Think about it. The rise and fall of a species in just 200,000 years. All that work to get here, and it's going to be brought down in decades. Now, let's ask the real question. Let's say that it all ended. Let's give it, 10 years, whatever. It all ended in 10 years. And it could be anything. Could be anything. Could be an asteroid, nuclear war, pollution, Fukushima, maybe some huge coronal mass ejection, whatever. And then all of us just died. Right? Gone. Poof. Done. Fini. Let's imagine that 5 million years from now, life on Earth gets another reboot. It's happened so many times before, right? Just another kickstart. And another civilization rises. And we'll call this next one in 5 million years Homo sapien sapien sapien. HSS3. Right? Would they know then that we today were ever here? Probably not. Because by that time, the Earth, its oceans, dirt, rocks, the continents would all have changed. They would have all been turned over, flipped, and everything that we see today around us would be dust. Pulverized billions of times over. CDs, right? Plastics. Would they survive? Would they survive? Right? They would, right? No, they wouldn't. They would not. Plastic bags, garbage, dumps, right? No. Nuclear waste. No. It's all gone. Any microscopic evidence of our technology would probably be thousands of feet down in the dirt, in the rocks, buried, or miles deep under new oceans around the world. Yeah. And you're going to say to me, well, Jimmy, what about the bones? We have dinosaur stuff, man, right? Right? What about the bones? Well, yes, sort of. We have dinosaur stuff, but fossils of things are extremely rare. Fossils of us, very rare. And when you think about the millions of species over millions of years that roamed this planet, what we have today is virtually nothing. Nada. So the second biggest question is actually very simple. Was there a civilization like ours once before here on Earth millions of years ago? And it's possible, sure. What evidence do we have? We have no evidence, none. We have the same evidence that they would have in 5 million years of us today. It's a fact. When it comes to direct evidence of industrial civilization, things like cities and factories and roads, the geologic record doesn't go back past what's called the Quaternary period. And this is the thing. That was 2.6 million years ago. For example, the oldest stretch of ancient surface lies in the Negev Desert. It's only 1.8 million years old. Older surfaces are mostly visible in cross-sections, visible like on cliffs. And we've seen that, right? Or rock cuts. Go back much farther than the Quaternary period, and everything has been turned over. It's been crushed. It's been just pulverized into nothing. Go back 50, 60 million years ago, and it would be easy to miss a civilization like ours that lasted for just 100 to 200,000 years and only had high tech for the last 1,000. Like us. Think about it. 50, 60 million years ago, in that period, Earth passed through the Paleocene-Eocene thermal maximum. It's called the PETM. And during the PETM, the planet's average temperature climbed as high as 15 degrees Fahrenheit above what we have today. It was a world almost without ice. A typical summer, temperatures at the poles, north and south, reached a balmy 70 degrees. And we're getting there again. Slowly, but it's happening, and we may be the cause of it. What happened 56 million years ago? I don't know. I don't. But today, we're trying to keep those temps from getting out of control. We see it happening. We see the changes. We know this. Now, once you recognize through climate change the need to find lower impact energy sources, less pollution, the destroying of the planet, of course, garbage and trash and what we're doing to our ocean, if we start to figure all of that out, it's less stuff we're going to leave behind for anyone to find in the future. Yeah, think about it. So long after we're gone, they may never know that we were ever here. Think about it. That little thin, you're on a cliff face, and you're going back 5 million years, and you happen to, and you're going, okay, all right, and you back up 5 million years. Do you know what trace in those rocks is going to be left in 5 million years? It's going to be about this thick, because it's only going to represent that thin little 5,000-year slice of modern human history. We're going to be like that. It's not going to be any bones, no New York City. The car that you drive today, it ain't going to exist. Seriously. So, could there have been, in the distant past, a rise and fall of a civilization, one that predates everything? Is it possible? Yes. How would we know? We wouldn't. There's no way. There's no way to know. And if you think about, and we have tried to find as much evidence of all of this that we can, the different historic events that ended everything here on earth. It's happened 6 times. 6 times. Life got restarted. It got kickstarted. It got rebooted. It did. Things evolved again. And I understand that. Think about that. We've only been, there is the most critical example that I need you to think about is the rise and fall of all of the great cities and how we populated the planet and what we have done in 5,000 short years. Most of everything has been in the last 1,000. All of the major cities since the Industrial Revolution, steel girders, right? Concrete being poured, 50, 100-story buildings. That's in the last 50 years. That's it. There would be no evidence of us. None. Think about that. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, and tonight is day 2 of our UFO week here on Fade to Black. Stanton Friedman, I'm going to leave you with this. Stanton Friedman has guided us. I still have videos that I have been carrying around with me for 25, 30 years of Stanton, and that I just studied. I would just listen to every word that he spoke. And a few years ago, just about 5 years ago, bumped heads a little bit on a panel. And I was hosting it. And I stopped myself. I wanted to have a little engagement, but I remembered and stopped and respected who I was speaking to at that moment. And I chose to listen to Stan. And that's what we're going to do tonight. It's a very important week here on Fade to Black. And tonight, Stanton Friedman joins us. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. And let's get this going. There we go. I'll be back right after this short break with our guest, the one and only Stanton Friedman, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. I'll be right back. Stay with us.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black Blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com.
Times are changing. The circus of politics, healthcare's low standards and high prices, and let's not forget food quality. What to do? Arm yourself with Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. In a world of chemical imbalance and poor air and water quality, it's time you make a move. Log on to getthetea.com and stock up on organic non-GMO supplements. Don't forget the tea. Cleansing your body never felt so good. And we have a brand new tea called Takedown Tea, which helps support healthy glucose. All natural body support so you can be at your best, naturally. All you have to do is log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. We're not a fad that comes and goes. We are the real deal. Join us and armor up. Getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Changing America's health one tea bag at a time.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Do you want to lose weight but have no idea where to begin? The Fast Start Diet, a 3-day weight loss plan, is the answer. 3 days of nutritionally balanced, calorie-restricted meals delivered right to your door. No shopping, no measuring, and no cooking. Everything is prepared for you and ready to eat at home or on the go. The Fast Start Diet has all the amazing benefits of intermittent fasting without starving. We've helped thousands of people who have struggled to reach their weight loss goals. Isn't it time we helped you? With the Fast Start Diet, you'll lose weight and feel great.
Find Fast Start Diet on Amazon or go to faststartdiet.com and use promo code TALK to get 10% off your first box. And as a special bonus, Fast Start will include their #1 rated Lipo3 appetite suppressant spray free with your order. This is Jimmy Church. And whatever your diet plans are, do what I did. Go to faststartdiet.com.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. Day 2 of our UFO week here on Fade to Black. And tonight our guest is Stanton Friedman, nuclear physicist, lecturer, received his BSc and MSc degrees in physics from the University of Chicago in 1955 and 1956. He was employed for 14 years as a nuclear physicist by such companies as GE, GM, Westinghouse, TRW Systems, Aerojet, General Nucleonics, and McDonnell Douglas, working in such highly advanced, classified, eventually canceled programs as nuclear aircraft, fission and fusion rockets, and various compact nuclear power plants for space and terrestrial applications. Became interested in UFOs in 1958. He has appeared on hundreds of radio and TV programs. He is the original civilian investigator of the Roswell incident. He has provided written testimony to congressional hearings, appeared twice at the United Nations, has been a pioneer in many aspects of ufology, including Roswell, Majestic 12, the Betty Hill Marjorie Fish star map work, analysis of the Delphos, Kansas physical trace case, crash saucers, flying saucer tech, and challenges to SETI.
Stanton has spoken at more UFON symposia than anyone else, and we would like to welcome back to Fade to Black, Stanton Friedman. Stanton, good evening. Good morning, actually. How are you?
Yeah, where I am, it's getting late. I'm on the east coast. In Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada.
New Brunswick, Kansas is a nice place, too, by the way.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody loves everybody there. Sorry, it's late here,
Yeah, good morning, sir. It's always great to hear your voice. And, I'm going to get a few things out of the way really quick. Earlier this year, you announced your impending, it's not quite there yet, but your retirement.
Almost.
Almost. It's almost here. You're on the show tonight, so we've obviously got some days left. But your impending retirement. What made you come up with that decision?
Well, I'm getting old, and when I was a kid, I was a big baseball fan, and we used to say that when the guy got old, he lost a couple steps on the way to second base. Not quite as fast as he used to be. And I'm 84 years old. It's time I rested a little bit. Not on my laurels, but at least to take it easy. And I'm giving a lecture in South Carolina in a couple weeks at the MUFON group there in Columbia, South Carolina. I got one more in, where am I going to be, in California. And, it's time. How many guys do you know are still working at 84?
You broke a lot of hearts with that announcement. It was just like, no, and we understand. I mean, 84, you don't hit us as 84, and that there's that part of it. But you have, myself included, have inspired literally generations going back for so long that we can't imagine ufology in our community without you.
Well, I may still do an occasional radio show. I only have 2 more lectures scheduled. And, it's a funny thing. I began in radio, and you go back to radio. I grew up in New Jersey. And we had loads of radio stations in New York, and that was before television. So I've always enjoyed doing radio. TV is nice and all that sort of stuff. But radio, you can relax. You don't need to worry about whether your tie is straight. And it turns out, apparently, I have a good voice for radio. That is... even at my age, I'm not scraping the bottom of the bucket yet. You can still understand me. So.
Yeah, we can. Well, there's the opportunity for me now to insert a joke, but I'm not going to do that. And we're gonna get to the next one, which is an obvious question, but I need to. I want to get inside of your head a little bit tonight, if you don't mind. 1958. Okay, it is now 2018. Your view of the UFO question and the ET hypothesis, how has it changed from 1958 to 2018?
Well, one very important thing that's happened is that our understanding of the corner of the galaxy where we live, if you will, our place in the universe, if you like, has changed enormously. When Frank Drake started talking about listening for signals from outer space because there might be aliens out there, he was talking there might be 8,000 planets out there. That's a lot of planets. And we're still under the impression we're the only one after all. We're the center of the universe, aren't we? And now, thanks to the Kepler satellite, we haven't changed our view a little. We've changed it enormously. The latest numbers from the Kepler satellite, which is going out and back and looking for planets, which is a pretty remarkable thing, because we can spot the difference in the light coming to us from a star when a planet goes in front of it. In other words, closer to it than to us by a great deal. That's like seeing a butterfly across your neighbor's car when it's a mile away. That's incredible. We now think there's 1.6 planets per star. Now, I'm not saying they all have life, maybe only 10%. But there's about at least 100 billion stars in the galaxy. I haven't been counting them, but that's what I'm told. Sometimes they say 200 billion. It doesn't matter.
It's a ginormous number, yes. Ginormous.
Well, it's a huge number.
Yes.
And, even if only 10% have life, we're talking 10 billion planets out there. And that means we also, when Bishop Ussher, an expert on sex, he studied all the begatting in the Bible, and in the 16th century, he concluded that the world was created in 4004 BC. Wow, a long time ago. Well, he left out 6 zeros. 4 billion, is a lot closer to the right answer. And that's changed things enormously. It doesn't help our ego. Now, some people say, well, it means we're important. Otherwise, why would aliens come to this place out in the boondocks, Well, we might want to talk about some of the reasons aliens might come here to listen to the radio programs, of course.
Sure.
I make one assumption about every advanced civilization. It's concerned about its own survival and security. And one of the early questions the scientists in any civilization are going to ask is, how the heck does the star produce all that energy? Enormous amount. You realize in the 1920s, a little less than 100 years ago, we thought there was one galaxy, and a big star is a mass of burning gas. Now, Mr. Hubble, after whom the Hubble telescope was named, realized, he started looking and monitoring, and he checked, and gee, there's a gazillion galaxies out there, But it's hard to believe. We didn't even know there were neutrons until 1932.
I know.
And we didn't know about fission and fusion, the two processes that produce an enormous amount of energy. Not just a little bit more than chemicals burning, a heck of a lot more.
Right.
We didn't know about them until 1938. And, I stress this because there's an important outcome of once you say, wait a minute, how much energy are we talking about here that we didn't know about? Well, a big bomb in World War II, and I'm old enough to remember World War II, was a 10-ton blockbuster. Released the energy of 10 tons of dynamite. Wow! Our first atomic bomb in 1945 released the energy of 15,000 tons of dynamite. Our first H-bomb fusion device in 1952 released the energy of 10 million tons of dynamite. So that's a pretty big jump from 10 to 15,000 to 10 million. And the Russians have tested the biggest bomb, Tsar Bomba. I love the name. One bomb, one stinking bomb, released the energy of 51 million tons of dynamite.
Unbelievable.
Now, the reason this is important is not only because it can beat the heck out of the planet if we start using these on each other, but how do you get someplace else? Old Magellan, well, he didn't make it. His ship made it in 1523 or so. Made it around the world. It only took 3 years, and that was going pretty quick. And then we had people talking about around the world in 80 days. Well, that's still moving. Well, now our satellites, the space station, is going over our head. And gee, it takes about 100 minutes, between 90 and 100 minutes. From 3 years to 90 and 100 minutes. So when you ask the question, well, wait a minute, where are you going to get the energy to go to the stars? Well, fission and fusion will do it very neatly. And if I'd said that 100 years ago, you'd have thought I was crazy. So it's been exciting to me to watch the change. Now, I don't know how many people have incorporated that in their thinking. Have the churches of the world realized? You know, and the thing is that wouldn't any civilization be concerned about us? We have exploded 2,000 nuclear weapons on this planet. I know some people were thinking, well, you mentioned the big Russian bomb, but we've only dropped nuclear weapons on 2 cities. Only 2 cities, he says casually. But the power to get to the stars and to threaten others is very obvious there, even if we don't think about it. You don't see articles in the paper wondering about are aliens concerned about us taking our brand of friendship hostility out there. You don't hear anybody worrying about that. I worry about it. But, and so what I'm saying is that we need to take a different perspective. I have a great-grandson. He's 11 years old. And the world he's going to grow up in is very different from the world that you're younger than I am, but the world that you and I grew up in terms of our place. And I get a kick out of the SETI cultists, I call them that, S-E-T-I, silly effort to investigate. You know, I've said that before. But why is it silly? Because it ignores all the evidence that aliens are visiting and says we should be listening for signals. Why? What evidence do we have that anybody's sending signals to us? What techniques did they use? Before World War II, and to give you an example of how easy it is to go wrong, the Germans were worried whether the British, because they saw a war coming, Hitler had his plans already, had radar. So they sent a flight over the English Channel listening for radio signals, listening for radar signals. Didn't hear any. So, that's a good thing. They don't have radar. And then they tried it again. This time they strayed over land, and there was quite an international incident. But they still didn't find any signals. They were looking, their frequency was off by a factor of 10. The signals were there, but they didn't see them and were misled. And, you know, that's another thing that I bring to the table. I worked under security for 14 years. I know secrets can be kept, sometimes big ones, and sometimes for a long time. And, you know, we sometimes forget how much money we spend on secret projects. When I was working on nuclear airplanes, 1958, a long time ago, our budget that year was $100 million.
Big time.
We employed 3,400 people, of whom 1,100 were engineers and scientists. Right. We're not talking about 6 professors sitting around the table with a few grad students. Now, the Corona spy satellite, which was developed, I get a kick out of the thing because some people may remember the U-2 incident. One of our spy planes got shot down. Well, the Corona was being developed. It was a satellite. And it was going to be able to go around and around and take pictures down below. And I loved the way they were going to get the film back. They were going to deorbit the film casters over the Pacific, and an airplane would catch the canisters. Honest to God. And the first 12 launches were failures. That shows you how to budget, boy. It doesn't work. Try again, try again, try again.
Right.
The 13th one got more data about Soviet military installations than all the U-2 flights that had preceded it. That was in the Corona spy satellite. And I still get a kick out of the Roswell incident. The town nearest to where it actually happened was Corona.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Which I think is hilarious.
That is funny. That is real funny. But
it does illustrate keeping secrets,
Right.
And it was kept secret all its life, 30 years before we revealed the existence of it.
And the original views, which I'm sure that you held or at least knew about, the whole nuts and bolts, metallic flying saucers, little ET dudes in there, flying, across the universe and getting here. That's okay. But looking back, we were pretty innocent and naive on the entire UFO situation. How far we have come, right?
Well, I think we've come far. And we've also come far in the use of nuclear energy. We started using those neutrons we hadn't known anything about. And, it's kind of impressive to think that we have nuclear-powered submarines. And you say, that's nice. They don't need to refuel. Well, it's more than that. They can stay underwater and go all the way around the world. And nobody knows where they are. So that means if the other guy bombs us or sends an intercontinental ballistic missile and beats up our cities and stuff, they can't keep us from retaliating from a submarine that's underwater. And we've had a number of these go around the world underwater. Think about that. That's incredible. We have aircraft carriers that I used to say can operate for 18 years without refueling. If you're a ship captain, that's kind of nice, isn't it? You got a monstrous ship over 1,000 feet long, and you don't need fuel for 18 years. Well, I was talking to a nuclear Navy guy, retired, and Stan, it's very close to 30 now.
Yeah, they would be decommissioned before they refuel.
Well, that's about the size of it. So smart guys and new technology. And, we're talking about the military technology, but I think about fusion propulsion for deep space travel. I was working on a study of that in 1962, a long time ago. And, of course, why would you do it? We don't have any planes to go out there. Who's going to pay the freight? And what language are they going to speak? Russian or English? We haven't solved the problems yet. But it's interesting to look around and see the world as it is today, as opposed to what it was when I read the first book I read in 1958. Now, I'm a little slow. I didn't get my first lecture until 1967. And here it's more than 700 lectures. And you want to see the world? Be a ufologist. I've spoken in 50 states, 10 provinces, and 19 other countries. How many people can say that as part of their normal workaday life?
The answer is none, Stan. I'll just help you with that right now. The answer is none.
The last one I saw was Bulgaria, incidentally, the last new country I visited. Nice place.
Yes, it is.
Would you believe the Bulgarian Science Academy sponsored a program? We're getting up there in the world,
So, but you bring up a valid point, which I think that we all recognize today. But you just mentioned your 11-year-old grandson. Great-grandson, I'm sorry. That he has no idea. You would have to explain to him what a video cassette is. Right? He has, think about that. For, the obvious 8 tracks or the things that you and I know and love and have a fond memory of, he has zero concept. None. In fact, you would just confuse him. You just may have to let it go.
Well, that's right. I remember when the computer, when I was at GE, my first job, the computer was in a special building up the road half a mile and had loads of air conditioning equipment and stuff. And when I look at the capabilities, there's just no comparison. Progress, Friedman's law, progress comes from doing things differently in an unpredictable way. You mentioned slide rules to kids.
I know.
I was using one when I started working in industry, and it worked very well. I mean, couldn't do much, but multiply and divide and take square roots, and engineers and scientists got by. Nobel Prize winners use slide rules, you know?
Well, and today, when we come back after the break, we're gonna talk about today, and I want to really understand where you are coming from today, because I have night vision goggles, right? I have Generation 3 night vision goggles.
Ooh.
And I'm able to go out and see some pretty strange things around in the sky. And I live in Los Angeles, as you know, Stanton. I'm here in Burbank, and we have 25 million people here. And you can walk out and look up in the sky and see absolutely nothing. But with night vision, you go out and you look up in the night sky and you see some strange things. This is an example of technology that we have today for the masses that, quite frankly, we didn't have 10 years ago, 20 years ago, for the average Joe like me to have. And certainly going back to 1958, we didn't have this ability to go. And now, today, we really understand so much that we just didn't know just 10, 20, 30 years ago. The world has indeed changed.
Yes.
Let's take
Amen.
Yes. Let's take a break right here, and when we come back, I want to talk about the way the mainstream media is treating the UFO subject today. You were a guest of Larry King's many times, and today there are other flag wavers out there in mainstream media, myself being one, and we will talk about all of that when we come back. Our guest tonight on day 2 of our UFO week here on Fade to Black is Stanton Friedman. More with Stanton after this short break. Stay with us.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Times are changing. The circus of politics, healthcare's low standards and high prices, and let's not forget food quality. What to do? Arm yourself with Life Change Tea at GetTheTea.com. In a world of chemical imbalance and poor air and water quality, it's time you make a move. Log on to GetTheTea.com and stock up on organic non-GMO supplements. Don't forget the tea. Cleansing your body never felt so good. And we have a brand new tea called Takedown Tea, which helps support healthy glucose. All natural body support so you can be at your best, naturally. All you have to do is log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. We're not a fad that comes and goes. We are the real deal. Join us and armor up. Getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Changing America's health one tea bag at a time.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Do you want to lose weight but have no idea where to begin? The Fast Start Diet, a 3-day weight loss plan, is the answer. 3 days of nutritionally balanced, calorie-restricted meals delivered right to your door. No shopping, no measuring, and no cooking. Everything is prepared for you and ready to eat at home or on the go. The Fast Start Diet has all the amazing benefits of intermittent fasting without starving. We've helped thousands of people who have struggled to reach their weight loss goals. Isn't it time we helped you? With the Fast Start Diet, you'll lose weight and feel great.
Find Fast Start Diet on Amazon or go to faststartdiet.com and use promo code TALK to get 10% off your first box. And as a special bonus, Fast Start will include their #1 rated Lipo3 appetite suppressant spray free with your order. This is Jimmy Church. And whatever your diet plans are, do what I did. Go to faststartdiet.com.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Matthew, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. Day 2 of our UFO week here on Fade to Black. And our guest tonight is Stanton Friedman. Tomorrow night, Barry Littleton is going to be here. And Thursday night, open lines all night long. And I'm going to take nothing but UFO phone calls. That's right, contact, photos, videos, all of that. That will go down on Thursday night. But tonight it's Stanton Friedman. And Stanton, the mass media over the last 8 months, 9 months or so since December of 2017 has had a little bit of a change. Well, certainly for those first 3 months at the beginning of 2018, an extraordinary amount of coverage, and it's continuing today. But I want your comments on that, and let's go back also to one of our biggest supporters in this community was Larry King, bringing it into the mainstream and into living rooms across America, and he was our big flag waver. What have you seen change between Larry King and the way things are going on today in mass media when it comes to the subject of UFOs?
Well, it doesn't seem to be as much focus on individuals going big, surprisingly, on big programs like Larry King. Frankly, what I'm thinking about is waiting for the other shoe to drop. I was so surprised with Luis Elizondo and Smith and those other guys, and the revelation that there had been a secret program spending, $22 million. That's not a lot of money, but it's more than anybody thought was being spent by the government. But I've been waiting, I guarantee you, every advanced technology program I worked on, there were paper reports, big ones, small ones, quarterly, semi-annual reports, technical reports, et cetera, et cetera. I'm waiting. I have yet to see one report out of that big classified study the To the Stars Academy reports. You know, where are the reports? You know, and I'm waiting for pressure to be applied to maybe now that I'll be retired, I can try to figure out how to reach some of these people to find out, okay, where do I find out more? Don't tell me they didn't write reports, because that's one of the rules of doing government-sponsored R&D. You got to write reports. And so I've been waiting for that. I was shocked and pleased. The media seemed to treat it, I mean, after all, it was the New York Times and the Washington Post, seemed to treat it pretty decently. And those guys, Elizondo spoke at a MUFON symposium, and I've read some of his stuff, and I'm quite impressed with the tone and so forth. But where is the rest of the paper? And I'm waiting for somebody to answer that question. If anybody's listening, you know, tell them to call me.
I remember, you bring up a very valid point here. I remember so many of your presentations of documents, and it's certainly your redacted presentations were some of the best. And so you know how to chase down paper. You've got, I can only imagine what is at your home as far as documents go. So you know that if the program, if the program existed, and I'm not saying that it did or it didn't. I don't know as a fact, but if it did exist, then there must be mountains of documents somewhere.
Yes. Yes, and, I know there are people who think governments can't keep secrets after all. I'll guarantee you that they can. I helped keep secrets. One of the most interesting jobs I had was to work, it was a one-man project, and it was, I'll give you the crazy title, Analysis and Evaluation of Fast and Intermediate Reactors for Space Vehicle Applications. And one important word was left out of the title, Soviet. I was asked to figure out, this goes back a long time, before 1970, what was the Russian capability with regard to using nuclear energy in space? Because there's a lot more bang for the buck. So I had two final reports. One was unclassified and dealt with technology, papers published by Soviet scientists about all aspects of the development of nuclear energy for space vehicle applications. The final report that I wrote, I never had a copy of it. It was in the safe at work until we turned it in to the government, and incidentally, it may intrigue some people to know that I had correctly predicted that the Russians were doing a lot of work in advanced nuclear technology. And as a bottom line on that, I should add that the United States tested one nuclear reactor in space. It wasn't a great one. It worked. The Russians put up over 30 of them. And the only time we heard about it in the West was when Cosmos 954 came down near Great Slave Lake in northern Canada, and people were worried about the caribou being exposed to radiation. Nobody was talking about the fact that, son of a gun, the Russians are way ahead of us in the development of nuclear energy in space. That means a lot of energy in a small package. So for sideband radar, for all kinds of applications, But the fact that I wasn't able to keep a copy of my final report, and I've been in places that tried to get it. There weren't any copies available, even when you had the appropriate clearance. So reports are a big thing, and that's what I'd love to see the media put more attention on. Let's go back to Luis Elizondo and those other guys. And, okay, where do we get the reports? You guys studied the subject. You spent quite a bit of money. What did you find? And it isn't enough to say, well, we did a study and it was classified. At this point, hey, guys, let's fess up. It's time. And the kicker is, what are we doing on this planet to be ready as a society for when the word finally gets out that, oh, by the way, aliens are visiting and have been for some time, and they're much more advanced than we are, and they're paying attention to us, and maybe we should be paying attention to them. That'll be a big story, won't it?
Well, I imagine this, and certainly you carried your own clearances over the years, and you know how some of these projects can operate. So I picture this, Stanton. If there was some division or some kind of structure for this program, I imagine it was at the Pentagon. It had an office somewhere. It had to have been staffed by somebody. It wasn't an office of one. Luis Elizondo was. No. I don't. So what goes with that? Email, a chain of command, reports, video, documentation. And that was signed off, and there were paychecks. There was all kinds of things that supported this project. There must be paperwork somewhere, and right now to this day,
that's
and
right.
You know John Greenwald. John has been trying to, and
yes.
he's one of the best. He's been trying
he
to
certainly is.
Yes, and he's been trying to find anything, and we've been coming up shooting blanks to this day.
Well, I believe that. I know John, and I consider him the top researcher on getting the truth. The Black Vault, what a great title for
absolutely
a place. And so what I'm saying is I think there needs to be a major effort somewhere by the media to say, okay, we know that this work took place. We know that there had to be reports. We know that they would have been classified, but can we not get some kind of action, get somebody to come forward who was part of this study, maybe a deathbed confession, I don't, people say, well, you think somebody kept reports out, and I'm dubious about that. I'll tell you, when I was carrying classified material around, once I had to carry my own slides for a classified presentation, and they sat me down and read the riot act to me. These slides stay with you, not in the trunk of the rental car when you're off. They stay with you, and all kinds of, they scared the hell out of me, frankly. And if the plane crashes, we don't care about you. We care about this classified material, so we need your detailed itinerary. There was a lot of that. And they put the fear of God into it, frankly. So what I'm thinking is there's got to be some guys out there who are getting even older than I am who may have some useful information, but I think we need to be prepared for that point. What happens, how many churches, pardon the expression,
okay.
Are getting ready for the public to recognize that if there is a God, he's got a lot bigger parish than we thought he did, and also, I think I try to figure out what aliens must think of us, and I think from their viewpoint, we're obviously a primitive society whose major activity is tribal warfare. We can't let them come out into space, us, in other words. I mean, think about it. How many countries are there? I think there's over 190 the last time I checked. How much the classified budget, the military budget this year on planet Earth is $1 trillion. How many kids died of starvation last year?
Right.
Aren't we ashamed?
Right.
Don't we need to wake up and say, hey, it's time for change? And I'm not trying to preach a particular religion at people or anything like that. Only to wake up and for people to realize we're part of a larger scheme of things, and we're still pretty ignorant. And I think, I would like my great-grandson to grow up knowing that aliens are visiting. They're all over the place out there, some of them. And, what I convince myself is you get sufficiently advanced to either learn to live at peace with your neighbors or you're destroyed. So I have faith that these guys have learned to live at peace. It's the only thing that makes sense. But, I'm proud to be a nuclear physicist, but I'm concerned that we're not doing enough to use our capabilities for the benefit of mankind. I don't mean just to go to the stars. I mean to take care of our energy needs, to take care of other aspects of our society.
Yeah, feed the planet. Yeah, there's
feed the planet. Good idea.
Yeah, there's no question about that, Stanton. And you bring up a really good point. I don't want to let this go. And which is the reports and the overall flavor out of Washington and other states around the world was that if we disclose the truth about UFOs or contact with ET, that everything is going to go to hell. The Vatican, world religions are going to collapse. There's going to be riots in the street, Wall Street, the economic system, everything. We're going to go right back to the Dark Ages. And after
I don't buy it.
Right. And after December 2017, with all the coverage in the mass media, every news outlet on this planet had it not only on the front pages, but on their primetime news programs all around this planet. Yes. And as far as I know, Stanton, nobody jumped off of a building. So I think we can handle it today. And it wasn't this way in 1958 or 55 or 65. I understand that. But today, it's a different situation. Why not disclose it? Yeah, why not disclose what they know?
Well, because they're not ready to say, so where do we go from here? Now, of course, you come up with a science fiction plot. Maybe the aliens have told us certain things not to do. Who knows? Maybe we're following instructions. I don't know. But I do know that there's a big secret. The monster in the room. What's that old line?
Yeah, the elephant in the room. The ET in the room. Yeah, the ET in the room.
Yeah. And the kicker is that, I'm concerned that more people be fed, that there be more peace and happiness, and that we don't be spending so darn much money on things military. I'm not anti the Navy or the Army or the Air Force or so forth, and now we're talking about a Space Force. I don't know where that fits into this picture, but I think I'm a grown-up. Darn it, I want to know what's going on, and I want my great-grandson to know what's going on. And, for people who are wondering, what's he talking? Is there really any evidence? I have tried this. I've talked in some lectures about 5 large-scale scientific studies about UFOs. And give some details, some slides, and so forth. And after each one, I ask, how many people here have read this? And I'm lucky if a few % have read any of the things. So we got a long way to go with what we know about. No less what we don't know about, which is usually the elephant in the room.
Well, okay. Now here's your opportunity. I'm going to give you a softball pitch, an underarm pitch, and you can swing. Are you sitting on a document or a piece of knowledge that you haven't disclosed about the existence of ET and UFOs?
That's an interesting question. I have a document that came in the mail with no return address and highly classified. And the kicker is it's 48 pages long, so it's not 2 pages long. And there's even a supposed interview with an alien, which I found was kind of funny. And I don't know whether it's legitimate or not. I'm certainly not going to run around and drop it on the desk of every editor in the neighborhood, because it shouldn't come from me. It should come from government people who had legitimate access. Besides, I don't have a need to know for it anyway. I've read it, but I'm very careful about how I handle it. Would it blow everything up? Well, it doesn't give the kind of data I want, but it certainly makes clear that there was a great deal of work done, that there have been bodies, live and dead, of aliens recovered, and that somebody knows a heck of a lot. Now, if the document is legitimate. Now, faking a document is easy on the one hand. Operation Majestic 12, we got some documents back in the 80s, and I'd say 95% of them were fraudulent. But those other three documents, they were, I believe, were legitimate. I've written a book, Top Secret Magic, MAJIC, about it, and I think the government had Operation Majestic 12. The name would have been changed when the title got out. And I wonder how many documents were produced and how many people know something about MJ12. I mean, I realize how old I am, and that the people who knew about these things are dying or dead already.
Well, how long have you been?
Waiting.
How long have you been in possession of this 48-page document?
Less than 2 years.
Less than 2 years. Who else has seen it? Have you shown it to Greenwald? I don't know. I think I've talked to him about it, but I haven't. That's a good point. And like I say, I can't swear it's genuine. It's got all the right markings, and it says some interesting things and so forth. But there's not a lot of smoking guns in the sense of things that I can take to the bank, so to speak. You mentioned the documents. They're blacked out documents and whited out documents, and some of them are funny. The NSA, everybody's favorite, no such agency. That's what NSA means. We went to court, Freedom of Information, and managed to get them to release 156 pages of top secret UMBR material. You know what a dud that was? It was all whited out except for one line per page. I remember that. I do. I remember that.
CIA, we went after them. We got hundreds of pages of top secret. Secret. Mostly that was almost all secret documents, all blacked out. Very exciting. And they can't find it now. If you go to the NSA, haven't been able to locate the originals of the.
Well, are you suggesting, Stanton, let me jump in. Are you suggesting that this document that you have is not redacted?
Yeah, I'm saying that. It isn't. That doesn't make it legitimate.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't, but it always bummed me out when, the stuff that's redacted are the names and the information of the people that you can contact about said document, right? That's the most important part of it.
Well, that, among other things. But like I say, the NSA documents, when there's one line per page that you can read and everything else is whited out, it's ludicrous.
Right.
And I get people telling me the government can't keep secrets. Oh, really? Tell me what's underneath the whiteout. It's funny. So and of course, I don't know how many other people might not have copies of documents that are exotic and intriguing, or whether there was a class in Air Force intelligence groups. Gentlemen, your job for the next 2 weeks is to come up with very impressive, phony, classified documents. And you get retirement points if you do that successfully.
Right.
Who knows?
Well, now,
but
I'm up against a break here. A couple of more questions. They'll be quick. on this document. What's the dating of the said document?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't even remember. It's quite a few years ago, more than 20, I'd say.
Okay, so mid-90s, 1990, 1998?
Yeah.
Very interesting. And it mentions, you should see, my email and Twitter's just flooded right now with your comments. This interview with an alien, anything that you can be specific of? I'm sure that we're going to see the document. You're going to present it at some point, but what can you tell me and the audience about this interview?
Well, it was funny. There were comments in it that he had a sense of humor about people, how programs went on, and I was surprised at that. And I'm still puzzled. It's got all the right markings of a classified document. Is it real? I can't say yet. And now that I'm going to be retired, I'm giving a lecture in 2 weeks, and then I got one more in January. I may be trying to, how shall you say, pursue this matter further with appropriate information sent to appropriate people. And, the government is in a peculiar situation. They can't accuse you of violating security by releasing a document unless they can say, well, it's real, Stan. That's why we're going to bring charges against you.
Right.
That's fine. It's a catch-22 situation.
It is.
You can't say I'm violating security if it isn't a legitimate document, can you?
And that's how they would play it. Well, and so now I've got exactly 90 seconds. You've researched the MJ-12 documents and thousands of other documents. You know typefaces, you know vernacular, you know the wording, you know what you're looking for here, the right stamps and the right signatures, and you know what to look for. So when you look at this document, how does it feel to you? I would think that, Stanton, you would know out of the gate within seconds what you were holding.
Well, I thought that too, but I'll tell you, I read it through a couple times, and I've let it sit now for a little while until I finish getting retired, and I'm going to be going back to it, and I'll be talking to John and some other people I know who've had clearances and looked at lots of documents, and see what we can come up with. But I would say I'm betting, a good baseball player gets a hit 30% of the time, a really good one 40% of the time. But on something like this, you'd like to be certain, 80% maybe.
Yeah, you would think. Yeah, there's no question about that. And if it's not, 1947, 1952, 1962, those eras from the past, we're now moving into the complete modern era. Was there mention of modern UFO events? I'm specifically thinking of maybe Rendlesham or the Phoenix Lights or something from the modern era.
Not real modern. There were no shockers on that score. Here's the straight scoop,
Right.
And so I'm tantalized. I'm teased. I'm frustrated. I'm anxious. And if there's guys in Men in Black outside my door tomorrow, I'm going to complain. Talk to Jimmy. Don't talk to me.
I'll take the rap, man. I'll take the rap.
Okay.
Yeah, don't send the documents to me.
No.
So there you go. Let's take a quick break right here, Stanton. And when we come back, we're going to continue this conversation. And obviously, I got to get a little bit more into ATIP and To the Stars Academy. And we'll do all of that with Mr. Stanton Friedman. This is Fade to Black, day 2 of our UFO week right here on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Folks, this is very important information. What's to be said about CBD? AncientLifeOil.com. Our CBD is made from hemp and has 0.003 THC, which means this wonderful product won't get you high, no matter what amount you take. What does CBD do for the body? My hands are tied. But you can Google CBD benefits and be astounded. When you're finished reading, you'll want to log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com and purchase. Life is good when you feel good. People are tired of pain. People are asking for non-GMO organic products to help them with you fill in the blank. Legal in 49 states, and again, our CBD is made from hemp. Ancient Life Oil is about helping people one by one by one. If you wonder how good the product is, the CEO takes it every day without miss. AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Have a great day.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. Yes. We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
Reclaim your active lifestyle with Angioprim. Angioprim is the original liquid oral chelation supplement. Chelation helps remove toxins, heavy metals, and cholesterol in your veins and arteries that can cause blockages. Scientific research proves the active ingredient in Angioprim has superior oral chelation action that helps promote cardiovascular health. Find out more. Go to angioprim.com. Talk to a trained consultant by calling Angioprim toll-free 877-882-7221.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hey, it's Grace. Can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, you know, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at nature'syouth.com. nature'syouth.com. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only use night vision goggles from Bearing Optics. You can see your very own green chrome balls today by clicking on their banner at jimmychurchradio.com.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. I think Stanton's got a Twitter account, Stanton T. Friedman. You can follow him on Twitter, too, as well.
Not that I know of.
There's one out there. There's one out there.
Well, What can I tell you? I don't know of a Twitter account. I leave Twitter to Trump. I don't.
Well done, Stanton. There's an imposter running around out there. Okay, ignore what I just said, everyone. But you can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Stanton, with this document that you have just mentioned, this 48-page document, and 1998 or whatever, 90s is modern enough for me. And with the TTSA revelations that were brought forward back in December 2017, does this document support the position of Elizondo and research? Is this a military type document? Is this an agency document?
Defense Intelligence Agency kind of document, yes. And what can I say? It looks good. It's going to take a lot more work. And, you need money to travel and go to. I've been to 20 archives. And I enjoy spending time at archives. But you got to spend money to go to archives. And I get a kick out of much of the money Bob Bigelow was involved with on this to the Stars Academy, and I got Bob's first research grant a lot of years ago. Traveled to New Mexico and did stuff and looked at documents at archives and things like that. I'm fascinated by archives, and because I had a clearance partly, and so I'm sitting here knowing that there's got to be a ton of stuff that I haven't been able to see, that nobody I know, as far as I know, has been able to see. And it's very frustrating. And, I talk about a cosmic Watergate, and then I realize a lot of kids today don't even know what Watergate was.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's true. And so we have a strange situation now. We've had relative peace in the world. We and the Russians seem to be playing sort of nice. Things are happening in Syria and other places. But so, and where Mr. Trump stands on anything, I don't know. I'm a sticker for let's get the facts straight. And that's not the business Mr. Trump is in, as far as I can tell. I'm still an American, so he's still my president, if you will, even though I live in Canada. I'm a Canadian as well, so I can complain about both governments perfectly legally. So we've got puzzles here, and I'm hoping. Both my parents lived to be 90, so I figure I got 6 more years to go, so I should be able to solve some kind of problem about this stuff in those 6 years. And we shall see. And, if there's anybody listening, my website is www.stantonfriedman.com, and I'm reachable. And I answer my own phone. And I live in Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada. So I'm not hiding from anybody. I got books out there, sure. But still, if there's anybody out there who would like a conversation to be off the record entirely maybe, but to give me some clues where I might go to find some other information, I'd be delighted to hear from them. And I'll share it with John Greenwald, because he has earned it, if you will.
Yeah, I'm going to be calling John tomorrow for sure. Okay, so the other part of this line of questions is you've been waiting for a very long time for these moments that we have enjoyed since December 2017, but it kind of fizzled. I feel like they took their foot off the gas.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop, as I say, and waiting for somebody to come forward or with a statement from the government said we have these 10 documents, but we can't release any of them. At least would be positive, you know what I mean? That there's something there. So I find it very frustrating. And It's kind of like, think of scientists working in certain projects where they didn't even know what other people were doing that was related, and that would have key pieces of the puzzle. And, it isn't enough for somebody to tell you something. It's nice that you can explain how nuclear fission works. But we spent over $1 billion building a gaseous diffusion plant to enrich uranium in order to get enough to build a bomb or 2 or 3 or 4, etc. Knowing that, nuclear fission is real. Where do I get the material? You don't go down to Walmart, I'll tell you that. And so there must be technology about which we know nothing. And yes, we've got nuclear power plants and nuclear submarines and nuclear aircraft carriers, and there are nuclear power plants in space. But what do we have to attract the attention of the aliens? And I certainly would not expect any sensible aliens to be giving us advanced technology. Would you trust Earthlings with advanced technology?
Well, I'm not so sure I would. You're
I
right.
wouldn't.
You're right about that. And there's, I have seen things, Stanton, and some of them you know about. I don't know if you have. We'll get to that in a second. But when I see something go from terra firma, right, some glowing plasma that has shape and form to it, and take 5 minutes to go from in front of me up to the stars and disappear, I have to ask the question, is that us? Is it them? I don't know. But if it's us, it's technology that they're not disclosing to us. And if it's them visiting us for whatever those reasons are, clearly there's evidence of both situations. And I know that there is something going on. When you hear something like that coming from me, and this is on videotape, and we had hundreds of witnesses. In fact, you were there, but you were not there. That's another part of the story. But nonetheless, the evidence is clear. It's right there. But what kind of propulsion are we talking about here? How is ET getting that type of craft from there to here? Or is it more simple than that? They're actually not traveling this kind of distance. Maybe it's interdimensional, or they're folding space.
Well, I have a different answer for that. I think we have 2 parts of the problem. The travel between the stars, and once you're in the atmosphere of a planet where there is a high gravitational field, and where you have to worry about drag and heating and all those sorts of things. And you mentioned the word plasma. I'll bet most people don't know that 2 different groups actually operated an electromagnetic submarine. Seawater is an electrically conducting fluid. And one was a scientist from Stuart Way. I met him from Westinghouse Research Labs. And no moving parts, and the submarine was 9 feet long, and it worked. Electric and magnetic fields at right angles to each other, an old law of physics says, produce a force at right angles to both. You push against the seawater, it pushes back by Newton's laws. Newton's was around a long time ago, and off you go. Now, I had a literature search done. Government documents only. And the key word was magnetoaerodynamics. And I had like 900 results, which shocked me. Abstracts of 900 papers. Holy cow, somebody was spending a lot of dough so we could go in the atmosphere, ionized air and all that sort of thing. And so I'm waiting to see somebody decide that, maybe that's something good we can do. On the other hand, you have to say the biggest use would be military, wouldn't it? doesn't everybody want to have a highly maneuverable vehicle that can be used to drop nuclear weapons on your enemies? I mean, that's the way our world works. So I can understand why there would be a reluctance to pursue technology that would have as its major goal military. Zap all the airplanes around and spend a lot of dough. Advanced technology development is not cheap. Academics think in terms of millions. I'm talking billions.
Or more.
And, it doesn't come easy. And you have to justify to somebody this to the stars business. Harry Reid was a big proponent of that, from the senator from Nevada. And he's proud of having got that job off the ground. But I'm still waiting. Harry, where are the documents? I want to see them. Very frustrating to know that there's something there and you can't get it.
Well, how do you propose? I mean, with all of your theories and daydream and night dream, where you're trying to figure this situation out. Let's just go with Alpha Centauri, 4.5 light years away, right? It's our closest neighbor. How would you get now? 4.5 light years doesn't sound like much, but it is a vast distance. And if you're if you're not traveling at the speed of light, and you're just out there cruising around, it's going to take you thousands of years. Okay, thousands of years.
Well, yeah, but that's not how you do it.
That's not how you do it. How would you do it?
I've tried a little experiment with audiences. Multiple choice question. How long does it take at 1g acceleration, the force of gravity right here? You drop a coin, it accelerates as it moves toward the ground. How long does it take at 1g to get close to the speed of light? 1,000 years, 100 years, 10 years, or 1? Believe it or not, many people think it takes 1,000 years and 100 or 10, but it's 1. Now, everyone knows Einstein said the faster you can go is the speed of light, but what they tend to neglect, what he also said, and has been demonstrated, is that as you get close to the speed of light, time slows down for things moving that fast. And you say, why is that, Stan? My only answer is that's how God made the universe. I can't think, that's the way things are. And we've demonstrated it. The Large Hadron Collider, that huge accelerator over near Switzerland there, accelerates particles to 99.999% of the speed of light. That's awful darn fast. And so you go out, come back, marry your granddaughter's best friend. What the hell? What's the implication is here, And so people look at me when I say that. I say, look, we build these accelerators. We have particles that go 99.999% of the speed of light. And we just began the nuclear age, if you will. Look, I repeat, we didn't even know there were such things as neutrons, even though all the elements on the planet include them, until 1932. That's not very long ago. We've been around several billion years. The planet's been around. I'm not saying we have been around. Nobody I know. Anyway, so the first thing is the laws of physics do not prevent going to the stars. It's not easy. And how do you deal in a world in which, like I say, you go out and come back and marry your granddaughter's best friend? That's kind of weird thinking. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, it is.
Now, the movement in the atmosphere, magnetoaerodynamics, and this was many years ago when I did that study, and got over 900 references, is something we know something about. And you can get around all the problems of high speed of light. Heating, drag, lift, radar profile, All these relate to the interaction between a vehicle moving in the atmosphere and its surroundings, the vehicle, the plasma, if you will, and so forth. Now, I'm not saying somebody gives me $1 million, I'll build one for you, because I know these things don't come cheap. You may need new materials and so forth. And, people like to think we know all there is to know and there's nothing new to be learned. I don't believe it for a minute. And I think that progress comes from doing things differently in an unpredictable way. Do we need to go faster in the atmosphere? No. What for? Shoot down somebody else's airplane? Don't we have better things to do? That's a different kind of question. But the notion that you can't get here from there basically is wrong, because it assumes we know all there is to know, and we assume that the person who's making that question doesn't know about advanced technology. Like I said, I was involved in a study of fusion, which goes on in the stars, all the stars, back in 1962, and it was directed by a man who headed the Oak Ridge National Laboratory Fusion Program, John Luce, brilliant scientist, who didn't have a college degree, incidentally. He got a couple honorary ones, but had umpteen patents and so forth. But that was, a long time ago. And if I got hundreds of references, how much more would you get today, if you got access and so forth? So, on the one hand, it's a very exciting world we live in, because I know there are things that we don't know about that we should know about, if we're smart enough. On the other hand, there are bigger questions. Where's the planet going? Can we support more than, 7.5 billion people? Can we extend life? Can we deal with cancer? Can we, there are some very practical sorts of things out there. What worries me is the bad guys getting access to the advanced technology.
That is the big fear. There's no question about that. And we're going to head towards a break. And so I want to get a couple of questions in while I have this opportunity.
Okay.
And when we come back after the break, though, Stanton, we're going to have fun. I'm going to take you completely out of your comfort zone. But before we get there, and I look forward to this, I want to tell everybody, years ago, Stanton probably doesn't remember this, but I run into Stanton. We're up in Big Bear for this conference, and Rita and I pull in, and who do we run into first? Stanton, and it's like 10 o'clock at night. And I invited Stanton over to the bar, and you went with us, and we sat down. And I tried to buy you a martini or two, and I couldn't. My intention was back then, Stanton, was to get you out of your comfort zone. I wanted to pick your brain. You would have nothing of it, but you did hang out with us till the wee hours of the morning. But my plan was thwarted. But when we come back after the break, no martinis, but I will get you out of your comfort zone. Before we get to the break, Jamie Chandere, when was the last time you talked to him?
Oh, boy, years and years and years ago. Really, I can't even tell you when it was.
I tried to.
I haven't talked to Bill Moore either.
That was my next question. You read my mind. I've tried to chase down Jamie, and I would think that who would be in our neighborhood here in Burbank, being a television producer. And I know that's where he was last, but I've been unsuccessful in those attempts. And the same thing with William Moore. After
he was in Pittsburgh, last I heard. But,
that's what I heard
that was
too.
Years and years ago. So I'm sorry. What can I say?
Yeah, I know.
Life goes on.
And after he ran out, were you there for the famous speech in Las Vegas at the MUFON Symposium?
Yes, and I was very upset about it.
I can only imagine. Was that the last time that you saw him?
I don't know. It might very well have been. I know we haven't had serious contact since then.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. Some people come and go, and others
they went.
Their own stick in the muds like me, you know.
They went. Well, we had Richard Doty called in, by the way, to this program about 6 months ago, out of the blue. Just, open lines on an open line Thursday, and Doty decides to call in. I ended up having him on the program. I didn't want to let him go. I had him on for about 90 minutes. And he said something very interesting during this conversation. By the way, Stanton, I've never invited him on the program. He's somebody that I don't agree with. But he did call in, so I took the opportunity to ask him some questions. And he made a statement. He said that there were two, the number is two, that there were two A-list speakers on the circuit today at UFO conferences that were informants, disinfo agents, and he knew them personally. Does that kind of comment coming from Doty, who we can't really trust, but does that comment from Doty surprise you?
Yes, that he would say so. In general, nothing from him would surprise me.
Right.
But, yeah, I don't know what to make out of Doty. And, I didn't really have much contact with him. Bill had contact with him, and Bill Moore.
Right.
And Jamie. But he's one of, you could draw up a list of strange aspects of ufology. The rule of Richard Doty is certainly one of them. And we need more historical kind of stuff going on. And that's why I can't tell you how frustrating it is to know that there had to be loads of documents written under this to the SARS, whatever it was before that, the Advanced Threat Assessment Program. There's got to be paper, and I would like to read it, darn it. What can I say?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, when Richard came on and I asked him the tough questions. There's no doubt about that. I'm not going to go through all of that now, but I asked him the tough questions. And out of everything from that conversation, it was that, that there were two speakers on the circuit right now that he knows to be disinfo agents. Today, I've got about a minute left. Why would any agency be interested in ufology and spreading disinfo or collecting information from inside of the UFO community? I would think that they have access to whatever they need, and what interest would be served in spreading disinformation inside of the UFO community today? And I go back, you just brought up to the stars, and they've got ex-CIA on staff, and yes. that I almost get a little bit uncomfortable and cringe at that thought.
Well, I do too. I mean, I respect security. Having worked under it and stuff, there are purposes it serves, and there have been times in the past 60 years that I've been around opening my mouth that I've worried about the wrong people getting access to powerful information. So, I don't know where that leaves us. There is no Book of Rights. What's mankind, what are we entitled to know? And I don't know. I'm not a dictator, and have no desire to be one. And I'm concerned about the future of the planet, but, on a personal level, as I say, I have a great-grandson. And how's the world, what's it going to be like? And I look at those 2,000 nuclear weapons we've exploded, and who's going to be joining the nuclear club, and can we trust them? And, questions like that. Those things scare me. Suicide bombing is not an imaginary concept. It's happened. There have been people who do that. I've done that. So I don't want the bad guys to be in control of things. But how do we get from where we are to where I'd like to see us, becoming a part of the Galactic Federation, maybe having a branch of the Galactic Federation Intelligence Agency here? I don't know. I'd love to read a history book. Life in the last 10,000 years in our neighborhood. What has happened? And I think it would be fascinating to read. But how many times have there been alien visitations to Earth? Maybe 1 million years ago or 10 million years ago.
That's right.
What happened?
Yeah, that's exactly.
I don't know.
I don't know either, but you would think, 20 to 100 billion planets in our galaxy. I would think that they've known about this beautiful, bright blue planet of ours for a very long time, Stanton. Let's take a break.
Indeed.
Yes. And we'll continue this conversation. But when I come back, Stanton on the hot seat. I'm going to take him out of his comfort zone. And we're going to do that next. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. We'll be right back.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal God, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Poor water quality is a major health issue, and it's only getting worse. Municipalities can't keep up, standards have dropped, and pollutants are increasing. Where does it all end? It ends by keeping the pollutants outside of your home with HydroCare's advanced systems available at Wave Home Solutions. No less than the best purification materials and processes have been developed by HydroCare to provide you with healthy, clean water for drinking, cooking, and showering. HydroCare far surpasses the competition in removing chlorine, odors, iron, lead, chemicals, limescale, and much more. Don't settle for less when it comes to your water. We'll take care of the toughest water problems for you, whether it's from a city or well source. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, call 888-997-WAVE. That's 888-997-WAVE. Or go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRARadio.com.
Does your basement or crawl space have a damp, musty smell? Well, watch out. That's a sign of too much moisture and not enough ventilation. And that can mean increased mold growth and the buildup of harmful toxins and gases. Don't bother with a dehumidifier. It just circulates the same unhealthy air. Now there's a better way to remove these dangers and odors. It's with the computerized Wave Moisture Control Unit that reduces moisture and expels pollutants.
We replaced our old dehumidifier with the Wave unit, and in only 3 weeks, our basement is dry and the musty smell is gone.
Wave units require no maintenance, no buckets of water or filters, and costs only pennies a day to run. Breathe better, live healthier with an affordable, no-maintenance Wave unit. Call 888-717-WAVE, 888-717-WAVE, or visit dryhealthyhome.com. Dryhealthyhome.com.
Ride the wave. Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from River Moon. Just click on the River Moon coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B Blend.
So are you tired of being tired? Well, then it's time to get the tea. Hey, it's Lisa here to tell you about this all-natural, all-organic tea I've been drinking that has had great results for over 20 years. It's called Life Change Tea, and it's specially formulated to help detoxify and cleanse your kidneys, liver, colon, and blood all at once. The colon is one of the most ignored organs in the human body. The faster that waste is eliminated from the body, the less time that waste sits in our intestines, spreading toxins toxins to our bloodstream. This tea helps cleanse chemicals caused by outside intruders from our entire digestive system. And get this, weight loss can be a side effect. And with continued use of the tea, you can experience clearer, healthier, younger-looking skin, increased energy, and a happier outlook on life. So if you're tired of being tired, get the Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. And like me, you'll be glad you did.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Teppy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why Fade to Black? Because you never got that pony, damn
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. You can follow me on Twitter, which is completely out of control tonight. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. You guys are really enjoying this conversation tonight, and so am I. And Stanton, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go a little bit rapid fire. You can take your time, but I'm going to ask you stuff that you probably have never been asked. Okay? You ready?
I'm not saying I have an answer for all the questions, but what the hell?
Let's do it. Bigfoot, Stanton. What do you think?
I think that there's enough evidence. I worked with somebody, Bobby Ann Slate-Geronda, who did a lot of looking at the Bigfoot data, and I'm convinced that some of the reports of large creatures, sometimes associated with UFOs, which raises all kinds of questions, are really out there. And no, I can't bring one into the lab and stuff like that. I was just reading recently that apparently there are still in Central America places, native tribes that have never had contact with the outside world. It's a big planet for Bigfoot.
Men in Black, Stanton. Have you been visited over the years?
No. I have to say that. I mean, I can't prove that nobody I ever talked to was really a secret government agent in disguise. And I will say this. There was one occasion when I gave a lecture at a college in New Mexico, of all places, where a guy asked, he told me he was very interested in the subject and so forth, and invited me over to his home, which was kind of unusual. But he said enough to get me intrigued about that he knew stuff. And apparently they had been paying attention to me, and they thought I was doing okay. It was all right. They were not worried about me. And so that got me wondering, how many intelligence agencies have a sort of a UFO subsection, if you will, keeping tabs on who's doing what or shouldn't be, or somebody about to break loose, or stuff like that. But that's as close as I've come. I haven't been threatened by anybody. I was told that I wasn't bothering people, that it was okay, which I guess was sort of comforting. I'd have been worried if he had said, Stan, you're on a list, and you better watch your back. If somebody had said that to me, I'd be very concerned. So I I've lived a peaceful existence. Like I say, I had a clearance for 14 years. I respect security. I think people know, anybody who's listened to my lectures and stuff knows that my approach is to go for the facts, for the data, and a certain, what shall I say, concern with the peaceful future of the planet. Not just because I have a great-grandson, but that's part of the picture. So it's not my ego that needs to be fed here, is what I'm saying. And so I'm not going to worry about Men in Black. You know, famous last words, I suppose. But they've been at this a long time.
Well, after tonight's show, do me a favor. Call me tomorrow and let me know how that conversation goes.
Okay.
All right. Next question. Your favorite UFO photo, not the best photo, but your favorite. For me, it's Rex Heflin's stuff, but it's not the best, but it's my favorite. For you, what's your favorite UFO photo?
Actually, what went through my mind when you asked that question was the Rex Heflin pictures. So, I don't know. I defer to Bruce Maccabee, who's an optical physicist, Dr. Bruce Maccabee, who's examined a lot of photos and very carefully, and I'm certainly convinced that there are a number that are genuine. I like the ones. The Santa Ana, the Heflin photos certainly are on my list, and I show them at my lectures when I get a chance to. I was trying to think of one that I saw recently. Where the heck was I don't even remember where it was, because I'm past the point where I need to have a picture to prove that there are things out there. You know, as I say to people, look, I've never seen a neutron. I've never seen a gamma ray. I'm convinced they're real, too. So, yes, I'm satisfied that there are pictures that pass muster with professional scientists who spent a lot of time looking at them, Dr. Bruce Maccabee being one. But I don't make a big deal about that. And, you know, people say, why don't we have better pictures? What do you want? The moon is huge in the sky. At arm's length, it's the size of a pea. You know, there are a bunch of pictures that I show that I think are legitimate, but they're not the essence of the story. You know, I know that the government, there are fighter pilots who've come fairly close to UFOs and taken good pictures with good cameras. Let's face it, the best equipment around is owned by the government for whether it's radar. I don't have my own radar installation, you know. I don't have a high-speed craft that I can get up close to a saucer if somebody calls me from someplace. I say, hey, get over here, Stan. He's sitting right outside my window. I mean, you know, that's not the real world.
Right. Well, the Costa Rican mapping picture from high altitude with that disc below the plane, that may be the best. That's a crazy picture, but I agree with you.
I like the Trindade photos from Brazil.
Yes,
off the island of Trindade, and I'm satisfied that they're genuine. And okay, that's nice. You know, it's like physical trace cases. After you've looked at the first 400 such cases, Ted Phillips has collected thousands of such reports. Enough is enough. Okay, I'm convinced that alien craft land and that they have an impact on the soil beneath them and so forth. 1/6 of those cases involve reports of beings seen with the craft. Okay. You know, I've stated my conclusions for a very long time that the evidence is overwhelming that some UFOs are intelligently controlled extraterrestrial spacecraft. Most are not. I don't care.
Right. Well, next question. Besides Betty and Barney Hill, okay, so let's put that to the side.
Yes.
What's the best UFO case ever?
Well, it depends on how you evaluate that. Certainly, I've written 3 books with Betty's niece, Kathleen Martin, and one of them is captured, the story of the Betty and Barney Hill UFO experience. So there's no question I'm in the camp. I met them both, of course. Barney died less than a year after I met him, I think it was. But and I'm particularly intrigued by that star map work and all that sort of stuff. But there are lots of abduction cases around, and there are good abduction researchers. Kathleen Martin is an organization called FREE. I wish I could remember what FREE stands for, but they've done a lot of looking at contacts with aliens, for want of a better phrase. And so the Hill case I like because we're very fortunate. Those two people, Betty and Barney Hill, did not need or want publicity.
No doubt.
A mixed marriage in 1961, black man, white woman, the last thing they needed was external publicity. They were active in civil rights activities and stuff like that. Betty was a social worker. So what intrigued me was how they were very fortunate to wind up with Dr. Benjamin Simon, a psychiatrist who knew nothing about flying saucers, but knew a great deal about how to get people back to living normally who'd had traumatic experiences. You know, suppose your buddy's head got blown off next to you in battle. That's not easy to integrate. And, you know, I saw a good example of that, how surprising things can upset it. I live in Fredericton, New Brunswick, a lovely town, about 60,000, the capital of New Brunswick. We had 4 murders here not very long ago. And the town still hasn't gotten over that. It's just not the kind of place where that sort of thing happens. And 2 of them were people who were murdered were police officers, one of them a woman. And I saw how difficult it was for people to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you think you can just wipe it off, but you can't. I mean, I brought my family here from California with all that crime and all that sort of stuff to live peacefully and all that stuff. And how could this happen here? And is there somebody else out there who's going to do it again? And it's shocking. And so that makes me think. And I did a monthly column about, okay, how will we react to the truth about aliens being put out on the table? It's not easy to say, and it's not easy to deal with. No matter, even for me, and I've been talking about them since 1967 when I gave my first lecture.
The Bob Lazar situation. Have your feelings changed over the years?
Well, I have to say no, because I got asked about him more than 20 years ago because he claimed to be a nuclear physicist, and people knew I was, so I figured I'd better do as much as I could to get the facts. So George Knapp, a fine newsman in Las Vegas, gave me some information, and I checked. I did as much checking as I could. First, I checked the membership of the professional groups to which I belong. American Nuclear Society, the American Physical Society, the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics, and Bob wasn't listed by any of them. And then I went a little deeper. I checked with the claim to have gone to MIT, have a master's in MIT nuclear physics and master's from Caltech in electronics, and neither one of them ever heard of him. Then I went a step farther and called his high school and said, I'm getting conflicting information here. What can you tell me? Well, call me back. I'll have his paperwork here. And I did, and she did. And let's see, the first thing she says, he graduated in August, not with his class. Now, guys who go to MIT graduate with their class, you know, and at Caltech and so forth. And then I asked, well, he was valedictorian. I'm not proud. He never said he was valedictorian. Nobody else did. And she said, no, he was not. I laughed. And I said, well, was he in the top 10? No. Top 20? No. Top 50? No. Top 100? No. And she's laughing by this time. And finally, it was like 265 out of 360, bottom third of his class. So I knew he had. You don't get into MIT or Caltech from the bottom third of your class, And I checked to more than one person at each of the institutions and so forth. And so, and I get asked periodically, and I will admit he seems to be a very sharp guy. Okay? He's not stupid. But he is lying about his own background. He doesn't have those degrees, which were the reason some people thought he did and therefore believed him, because people with those degrees should be believable, it says here in small print. So I haven't really changed, and I haven't done anything new in the last few years. I've seen no reason to change my mind. I'm open. Give me some evidence. I checked. I couldn't find any technical reports that he'd written. Nothing to substantiate. So absence of evidence is not evidence for absence. It means you don't have any data to support it. So I'm satisfied that there's nothing there. If somebody shows me something, I'll be happy.
Who built the Great Pyramid?
Well, the business about pyramids is intriguing to me because, again, as I said right at the start, we have found that there are planets all over the place out there, far more than we had anticipated. And when you look at the age, there are still people saying 5,000 years, the lifespan of life, or 6,000 years on this planet, and as opposed to billions of years. So I don't know who built the pyramids, but it wouldn't surprise me if there was an element of extraterrestriality in the sense of, I think ETs have come here and gone away, come back, whatever. It's a nice place to visit on your way to someplace else. For all I know, we're somebody's colony to begin with. Somebody else could say, well, maybe you're somebody's crop, and they're serving Earthlings for dinner. I have no way of saying. But I am fascinated by the history of our planet, and also by how ignorant we are of that history. I mean, Heinrich Schliemann found Troy, the legend of Troy and all that sort of stuff. He dug down, I think it was 67 feet, 70 feet, something like that. There aren't many parts of the planet we've dug down 60 or 70 feet. I wish that a Navy nuclear-powered submarine was scouting around on the bottom of the ocean looking for wrecks and history and stuff like that. And I'll bet we'd find all kinds of interesting things, but that's not how we spend our money. So I think the aliens civilizations may have had something to do with the pyramids. Maybe they built as a beacon or a competition. My pyramid's bigger than your pyramid.
Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. Could be. One of the things about it, and you have such a great mind when it comes to this stuff, and especially when it comes to documents and writing. The Great Pyramid, quite frankly, it's no great mystery here, but there's there's nothing on that pyramid. It doesn't make any sense, especially if you're going to build a pyramid bigger than the next guy, right? Well, you're going to mark it. And there is the lack of anything like that there. Could it be, Stanton, that it was built before there was hieroglyphics?
Of course it could be. And there's still mysteries out there. And I'm intrigued by mysteries. Mysteries take money to investigate. As I say, I've traveled around. I've lectured in 19 countries. And fortunately, there were people who paid me to lecture, so I could afford to go to those countries and go to archives and stuff like that. And I am very grateful to the Mutual UFO Network on occasion, to the Center for UFO Studies. research doesn't come cheap. So I wish we could spend more research on finding out the truth about some of the mysteries of our planet. Somebody had mentioned Bigfoot earlier. I would like to see more effort put in instead of into better means of killing people. We do a lot of that. So the pyramids are, a beacon for curiosity. How the heck did that happen? Who built it and why? And there's more than one after all, and those things are darn big.
Right.
That's not a little teepee on the corner.
No, it is not. No, it is not. It is so funny how little we know and amnesia, right? Okay, one last question before I have to say good night or good morning to you, which is Shag Harbor. Shag Harbor, for some reason, is like the redheaded stepchild of ufology. Nobody talks about it. There's no and it's right there, documented. An amazing event happened right there in Canada. First off, what are your opinions on Shag Harbor? And second, why is it that everybody wants to talk about Roswell, which is fine, or Rendlesham, which is fine, or Malmstrom Air Force Base, and I love Travis Walton and all of that. But Shag Harbor is not on that list for everybody. Why?
Well, I've been there. I spoke at the conference there, and I've talked to some of the witnesses, and unlike Roswell, it happened a lot more recently, so the people aren't so old. I think it's very hard to find a first-hand Roswell witness. I mean, it happened, 47 is a long time ago. Those people aren't about. I think Shag Harbor is an excellent case, but I don't think they've had one of their conferences for a while. And it's... I was going to say in the middle of nowhere. That's not a fair statement, but it's pretty close. It's not on the mainstream, and there hasn't been a serious effort to, it's not like, why is Roswell? Well, we forget that there were a lot of people involved in the Roswell incident, and that New Mexico was the home of 2 of the 3 nuclear weapons labs, and the home of White Sands Missile Range. There's an awful lot of military and high technology activity there. We can see why aliens would go there, and you can see why the government would shut up about that. I mean, there's Los Alamos, budget over $1 billion a year, a lot of security around that place. So Shag Harbor is a stepchild of the movement, if you will. I wish it weren't so, but what can I say?
As far as Shag Harbor goes, do you think it was a legit UFO situation, or do you think that it was something else?
I think it was a legit UFO situation, yes. And the Navy was certainly concerned.
And the United States Navy and military was concerned about it. Well, yeah. Okay.
So, but they weren't going to be talking about it, and the witnesses aren't making a big noise, and the people haven't set up a big museum and sent out invitations to come there and all the rest of that. So I like the case. I've talked to some of the people. I was very favorably impressed. But what do I do after that?
Yeah, I know. It's shocking to me. All right, one last parting shot across the bow this evening before we part ways. Have you seen or had your own sighting?
No. That's an easy one to answer. As I said earlier, I've never seen a neutron or a gamma ray, and I think they're real too. I've never seen a flying saucer. I've talked to loads of people who have. And, maybe it's because I grew up in New Jersey and there's a lot of smog there and you're not looking out. You're too busy looking for traffic. No, I've never had a sighting, and it doesn't bother me. I've talked to enough people who have. And, it's like the research on the Betty Hill star map, Zeta 1 and Zeta 2 reticuli. Now, I haven't been there. I haven't talked to any Zeta reticulans, but it's a strong story, very strong story, the star map work and all the rest of that. And so, I wish I could say that I had, but I haven't, and that's the way life is. Too bad. And I should give out my website is www.stantonfriedman.com. And get my books. There are good deals. Live it up. Get educated.
Stanton, thank you for not only your contribution to ufology, but thank you for continuing to roll that rock uphill. You've been doing it forever, and just the respect is there from all of us. So thank you so much, and I can't wait to...
My pleasure.
Can't wait to get you back on the show and continue the conversation. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Stanton. Bye-bye. Good night, Stanton. Stanton Friedman, everybody. There you go. I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to also open up the phone lines. So we'll do that when we come back. Stanton Friedman, amazing conversation. This is Fade to Black, day 2 of our UFO week. Tomorrow night, Barry Littleton is going to be here. All right, I'm going to take your phone calls next. This is Fade to Black. See you in a second.
Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously, go Beckley Teppy. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I take Life Change Tea supplements every single day. It's what I do. Click on their banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hi folks, CBD is the home run hitter for health right now. Why, you ask? Because of what it does for the body. Unfortunately, I can't tell you all about the benefit. There's reasons. Do your due diligence and log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Ancient Life Oil uses organic ingredients and is blended in coconut oil for some of the best benefits. Legal in 50 states and non-psychoactive. Log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and my family is safe because of Numana Emergency Food Storage. Just go to the Numana banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code Jimmy10.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app. Free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Watching Twitter. Out of control. What a great conversation. Stanton T. Friedman right there. Amazing conversation. And could have gone on forever, but you got to understand it's like 4 o'clock in the morning out there in New Brunswick. But just an amazing conversation. Thank you so much for that, Stan. And we'll do it again soon. I've opened up the phone lines, 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695 or 818-921-6929. And let's go to area code 414. You're up first on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hi, Jimmy. This is Brian.
Hi, Brian. How are you?
Good. Awesome lineup this week.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Just, Stan Friedman, he's the best.
Oh,
so
legend.
Yeah, absolutely. What's on your mind, Brian?
Well, I just want to tell you, I'm the same age as you, and we're trying to find out the truth, and you're doing a great job knocking it out of the ballpark.
And as you listened to Stanton tonight, what stood out for you? For me, there was so much, but what stood out for you, Brian?
He is pioneer. He is the pioneer, and we're going to finish his job.
You know what? I couldn't agree with you more, Brian. And thank you for the phone call. And I'm sure Stanton is listening right now. Thank you so much.
All right. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Let's stay right on the phones. Thank you for that phone call, Brian. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hi, Jimmy. This is Mr. Anonymous, a.k.a. Ray, Time-1.
Okay. How are you, Ray?
I'm terrific, Jimmy. Hey, I really appreciate you guys getting Stanton on tonight. That was terrific.
He's the best, man. He's the best, and the more that we get out of him, the better. And I know, there's so much more that he knows and that can offer us. But you have to ask the right questions. I tried to do that tonight.
You did great. I mean, a lot of times you can almost deduce what's going on, but what's not spoken about as to the spoken word.
That's exactly right. And Stanton knows, he's been there. The things, and it goes without saying, Ray, but, and thank you for the phone call. It goes without saying, his research, going back to not only Roswell, but before that, and Betty and Barney Hill, the MJ-12 documents, his relationship with Bill Moore over the years, and Jamie Chandere, he has seen it all. He's seen it all. It's way beyond the scope, and we need to respect that. And to get out of him tonight that he's sitting on a document, he's sitting on it, and he's going to take the time to find out what's going on with it. Don't you want to know? 48 pages, man, and it's a modern document. So we'll get to the.
You know, I was at Aerotest in Mojave for 3 or 4 years back in the late 80s, early 90s, and we helped take apart one of the M21 aircraft that's now up at the Museum of Flight up in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically a launch platform for hypersonic vehicles. We had a lot of fun with it, but in the process, we discovered that some of the engine functions were still classified documents, and we couldn't release it. Well, one of the guys there had experience at Lockheed, went over to Lockheed and managed to get these documents declassified. And I still have some contacts with these people. So I sent Stanton an email tonight saying that I'll do my best to look up and see if any of my contacts are still alive, because, you know, at 64, I've lost a lot of friends over the years, and that was the same time period when I used to go up to China Lake on a fairly regular basis. They had a really good AA meeting up there, and I went every Thursday, and I happened to meet one of the mechanical engineers that worked at China Lake. And I just casually mentioned the MJ-12 documents. And he said, well, I've got 20 years here in at China Lake. Why don't you bring me a copy of them and I'll check to find out if they're for real. I submitted them to him the next Thursday, and he took them. He was gone for about a month. When he came back, he said, these are bona fide. They're real.
Which ones did he look at?
I've got copies on in the computer. I'm not that familiar with them.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I'm curious about that. I asked Stanton about that many years ago, both on the record and off, and he felt pretty confident that the Twining document was authentic. I think that a large chunk of the MJ-12 documents started to fall apart, and we also have to remember what the sources were on that, which, we're talking about Bill Moore and Jamie Chanderay, and, of course, Stanton was part of the revealing of that and did the original press conferences about the MJ-12 documents. I found them to be very fun reading. What I thought was more important about the MJ-12 documents, and this is me, and I have talked to all of the players involved with, except for Bill Moore, of course, and Jamie Chanderay, but about those. And what I found most intriguing was somebody somewhere had the ability to get the correct typewriter, to type the right verbiage, to put it together and get the right stamps together and the right chain of command, and to get it all authentic looking to the point where they stumped just about everybody inside the military and out. Now, the FBI, of course, on their own website has stamped them all as being fake. And you can go and look at the MJ-12 documents on the FBI website. But that being said, a great effort was put into this. And so you have to go back and look at the possibilities of A, Doty being involved, B, an agency being involved, or C, maybe the Air Force themselves directly being involved in the creation of the MJ-12 documents. I could be completely off base here, but it seems like there was a lot to put those documents together. I don't think it was one person or two people sitting at a typewriter typing in some room until they got a correct document, without mistakes, right? Because it's a typewriter. You can't make a mistake. And I think that there was a large group of people together on it. And so I think that is probably as important as the documents themselves being real, in that why would the government be involved in a massive disinformation campaign like that? And that's my take. I find that just as intriguing as, I'm not worried about UFOs being real or ETs being real. I know that we're not alone in the universe and we're being visited. So why would somebody go and create the MJ-12 documents, quite possibly from our own government, with the interest of disinformation and scaring the crap out of people? I think that's a bigger story.
The whole thing is very, very confusing. In '86, and I sent a tweet out tonight on that. In '86, I worked at for California Microwave, and that was a CIA company.
Mm-hmm.
And we were involved with a project out at Point Magoo. I worked with who was at one time the director of CIA ops over in Europe, and I worked with Jim Sullivan, who was an SR-71 pilot and set lots of records and all kinds of neat things. I mean, these guys were up there, and Joe Russell was vice president of the company at the time, and Dave Leeson was the president. I never met him. But these guys, you could talk to them, you could be around them, you would never know what they know. I mean, you could have conversations about everything, and you try to catch subtleties from them, and try to figure out, okay, who's got ET contact, because anybody who's flying up above 90,000 feet has had ET contact of some kind.
Sure.
So they've got stories up the wazoo that never reach the papers, and they just act like it's ho-hum, And I'm there trying to get a clue as to what's really going on, and they don't flinch, It's a piece of cake. The only issue I had is like what Stanton had with his 48 pages right now is he doesn't know if they're for real. Well, the project I was on, when I left, I tried to get debriefed from NSA, and I called them up, and I said, hey, I worked at a project here. Lieutenant Commander Runyon was in charge of the project, and I need to be debriefed. Well, they looked, and they said over the phone, well, we'll have to call you back in about 15, 20 minutes. They called me back, and they said, we don't have any record of any project. We can't tell you anything. And I'm like, gee, thanks a lot, buddy.
Right. And you were there. Well, see, that just goes to show you, it's easy to hear between the lines there, which was, keep your mouth shut. And now they know who you are. Right. So there you go.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing. They know where I'm at. They know where I've been ever since day one. It's not an issue, They wouldn't waste Men in Black hanging out on my front porch. It'd be a waste of their time.
Ray, thank you. Thank you for the phone call. And you need to call in this Thursday on our UFO Fader night, and we'll take this conversation a step further.
You got it, Jimmy.
Thank you, Ray. Have a great night.
Thank you, you too.
That's a great phone call right there. That's what I'm talking about. Man, I love this audience. Let's go back to the phones. Let's go to area code right here in Los Angeles, 310. You're up next on Fade to Black. You're live. Area code 310. I lost that call. Yeah, 323-825-5045, 323-275-9695, 818-921-6929. I could squeeze in a couple of more calls. I just went through all of those. The 48-page document, and if you're just dialing in, Stanton, the question was this, and it was a simple one. Stanton, are you sitting on information that you haven't talked about? What is it? Are you sitting on the stuff? And he said, I was mailed. I'm going to paraphrase here. He says, I was mailed a document that didn't have a return address. And I asked him, he said that the document discussed all of this, first off, but second, mentioned an interview with an ET, and I found that interesting. And then he further went on to say that the document is modern about 20 years old. This is 2018, so that'll put the document at around 1998. He didn't remember the exact date. He then went on to say that it was 48 pages. I asked him if he had spoken to anyone about this document, and he doesn't think so. I brought up John Greenwald because I know that John and Stanton have known each other for years. And, of course, John Greenwald runs the Black Vault, and he is the document expert. So if you have something, you're going to run it by John Greenwald first. And I have called John a few times over the years when I have stumbled across something, and he is indeed the first person that I call. So Stanton's retirement is imminent. He's got 2 more conferences he is going to do. The last one is in January, and then he's going to put all of his attention onto this document. I can't wait to not only see it, but of course its contents. And I will be in touch with John Greenwald first thing tomorrow to discuss this. I do want to know if Stan has given him access to it. So there you go. One of the big reveals tonight on this show was that Stanton Friedman has a document that he has had for about 2 years, 48 pages and modern. Let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hi, Jimmy. It's Deb from Sacramento.
Hi, Deb from Sacramento. How are you?
Good. How are you doing tonight?
If you fill in the blanks on that one. That was, I have to say, Deb, I do this nearly every single night of the week, and I anticipated this kind of show tonight, but wow, Stanton Friedman, I could just sit and talk to him forever. I did attempt to buy him some martinis, and I just thought, man, here's my shot. It's Stanton and I, myself, Rita, a few of our friends in the snow, right up there in Big Bear, and let's go. And I bought. We had food, we ate, we had fun, but I just couldn't. I tried to get him out of his box that night, and it just didn't happen. It didn't happen.
Loose lips sink ships.
He
Jimmy.
saw through me like a clean piece of glass, Deb. He knew exactly what I was trying to do. So, what'd you think about the show? What'd you think?
Oh, it was great. I really want to know more about that document, of course, of the alien interview. That would be fascinating. But, the first time I ever saw Stanton Friedman was back in the 80s. I had never heard, I wasn't into the UFO thing back then. And I remember turning on Larry King Live, and they were having a show on Rendlesham. And he was part of the panel that was talking about Rendlesham Forest and the incident there. And there were 3 of them, actually. Oh, gosh, Peniston was another one. And then there was someone else, too. And then there was the skeptic guy, and he was so annoying, and I couldn't remember his name. But, here are these educated, credible people with all this evidence talking about this thing, and then there's the skeptic who's sitting there just spewing total nonsense and doesn't even know what he's talking about. And that's what first kind of got me interested in, what's going on here? What's this all about? And then shortly after that, the whole Bob Lazar thing broke in '89, so that kind of had me hooked, and then I had been following it ever since, here and there. It was an interesting panel to watch and really got my attention way back then.
Was it Philip Klass? Was that who the skeptic was?
Can you physically describe him? Mustache, kind of a frumpy old guy. Looks like he was wearing a toupee, very nasal type of voice, very annoying, kind of short, dumpy looking. Not to be mean, but look like.
That doesn't really fit Phil. Phil had glasses and was bald. I don't remember him having a mustache, but certainly him and Stanton went toe-to-toe many times over the years. It got ugly.
It may have been him. I might be remembering a different skeptic, but I just remember him being so completely annoying that I just wanted one of the guys to haul off and hit him. He was terrible. It was just terrible.
I wonder if it was maybe Kevin Randall. He was.
You know what? I bet it's on YouTube.
Yeah, it probably is. It probably
is.
Well, there you go. Anything else on your mind before I run credits?
Yeah. Did you follow up with Emery today and talk with him at all?
I did not. Very, very, very busy day around here on all fronts, and no, I didn't get around to communicating with Emery. Why? What should I ask him?
With a little bit of information you're trying to wiggle out of him last night, and you were like, "Oh, Emery," and you said, "Well, I'll talk to you tomorrow." And I think the reason your question was, what could you possibly disclose that could be more amazing than the things you've already told us?
Right.
And he couldn't say. And I think the reason, I don't think he's trying to taunt us or anything like that. I find him extremely credible and honest, but he was talking about how they have to be responsible. The only thing that I can think of as to why he can't tell us whatever it is that's even more extraordinary is because when they disclose whatever it is, and I can't even imagine what it is, they don't want to frighten people, and they have to have like a backup to say, but we know for sure that they can reassure people that it's not going to like not only blow their minds, but frighten the public. That's the only thing I can think of is why they can't say certain things.
Yeah, that's a possibility. I don't think I'm comfortable, just like Stanton said tonight, I don't think we would freak the public out. You know what would freak the public out? Not that E.T. is here, but that there's a fleet of battle cruisers on their way to planet Earth, and we've got 5 years to say goodbye to our loved ones because they're going to come here and blow up the planet. Now, that would freak everybody out. But the knowledge of E.T. being here or visiting, whatever crash saucers, we've got E.T. in jail right now, and we're waterboarding him. That's not going to freak anybody out. Well,
I just want the technology to hurry up and be disclosed because we need to do the life extension so that Stanton's around into his hundreds because minds like that we can't afford to lose. And I'm afraid of loot like with William Tompkins. I just want the older people to have all this knowledge like Linda Moulton Howe, and we want to hang on to those people. So if they're going to do this life extension, they need to hurry it up.
Yeah, I'm so appreciative of my time with Stanton. Probably 4 or 5, maybe 6 times, I was able to literally sit shoulder to shoulder with him for a couple of hours at a stretch, alone, and just sit and talk. Just sit and rap. And I've actually been able to do that, and I'll cherish that forever. And I'm just so thankful. And that, he's 84. And that conversation that we just had, that wasn't the 84-year-old mind that we perceived to be 84.
My mom's 84, and let me tell you, it's like night and day between talking to her and talking to Stanton Friedman. His mind is so sharp.
Right. Yeah, I'm 55. Yeah. I'm 55, and I'm not that sharp. So there you go.
And you are looking svelte, Jimmy.
Yeah. I've lost a little weight, and I feel better. I do. I feel great. Yeah. What a great diet. I got to get out of here and roll credits, Deb. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Okay. Absolutely. Take care, Jimmy. Bye-bye.
Have a great night. Great conversation tonight. UFO week here on Fade to Black. And not only last night with Emery Smith and tonight with Stanton Friedman. That's all cool. It's been great. Tomorrow night, Barry Littleton is here. Barry Littleton. Now, not only has he had a life of contact, but his experiences and his contact going through to today are all extraordinary. But it goes beyond that. There is a reason why Barry Littleton is here for day 3 of UFO Week on Fade to Black. You're not going to want to miss tomorrow night. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Camarion. Show is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitoa, Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. Thank you to Stanton T. Friedman. Twitter was on fire. Thank you. Great phone calls. So thankful. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2018 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I am your host, Jimmy Church. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Until tomorrow night with Barry Littleton, everybody be safe. Go Beckley Teppy.